What is going on, everybody? So, we are halfway through the year, a little bit more than halfway through the year so far, and I've been wanting to make my top 10 films of the year list thus far, because I always have fun making these lists for you guys and telling you where I'm at. But I'll be honest, with the way this year has gone, it's been really difficult for me to kind of put these in a specific order. And as of right now, my top 10 list is like really tentative as to what the #1 spot is going to be, because I feel like the movies are so close in quality, especially towards the top, that there are certain things about each film that I really love and appreciate that it could move them around at any moment for me, and I would be fine with where they ended up. But we'll get into it a little bit when I talk about them today. So as always, this is just my opinion. These are the movies I feel like are the strongest of the year, and so I'm going to give you my 10 favorites, but I'll give you a few honorable mentions at the beginning as well for movies that I feel like are just worth talking about. So without further ado, let's get into the honorable mentions. So just to give you a couple honorable mentions, first up is going to be the new comedy No Hard Feelings, starring Jennifer Lawrence. If you watch my review, I thought this movie was incredibly charming, hilarious. The performances were really great. I would have never expected to love this movie as much as I did, but I really enjoyed it a lot, and I feel like it has a lot of rewatchability factor, and I'm really looking forward to watching this again sometime in the future. Up next is going to be the film Master Gardener from director Paul Schrader. I loved this movie. It was really subversive and weird and strange. It had a great lead performance from Joel Edgerton, and this is very similar in the vein of First Reformed. It's very quiet and slow-paced, talking a lot about growing flowers, but there's a lot underneath the surface and exploring, like, can a person redeem themselves after doing something absolutely horrible with their lives? It's just really well directed and well done, and I'm glad I watched it. Up next is going to be Scream 6. This is a movie I absolutely loved. I feel like this got back into what I love about the original Scream films. I wasn't a huge fan of Scream 5. I thought it was fine, but there was a lot about it that I felt like could have been fixed, and with Scream 6, I feel like they fixed everything that I really had a problem with in this movie. It was just really enjoyable, a whole lot of fun, and I can't wait for the next movie they do in the franchise. And my last honorable mention will actually be Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 from James Gunn. I did not expect to love this movie as much as I did, and I absolutely loved it. I feel like this is the most consistent franchise in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, not some of the other offshoot films, but I feel like the ones that are in the main universe, Guardians of the Galaxy, have stayed consistent and unique. James Gunn's vision has lived through the entire franchise, and this movie was just really great character writing, and I really enjoyed myself through every moment of this movie. I can't wait to watch it again. So those were a few of the honorable mentions. Now I'm going to get into my 10 favorite movies of the year. So coming in at number 10 is the Mark Jenkins directed film Ennis Maine. This is a very strange, surreal, hypnotic experience where it has a very thin narrative of a woman who goes to an island. She is in charge of checking this journal every single day to make sure that this plant hasn't withered away and died. She drinks tea every day. She spends all of her time alone. And this movie is just a nightmare. A lot of people said, oh, this movie, nothing happens. It's so boring and bland. But I felt the complete opposite. It's so aesthetically gorgeous. The cinematography is amazing. The tension building in it is really fantastic because you never really know what's going to happen next. And there is just an array of really sort of nightmare-inducing imagery that's thrown at you where it's just super uncomfortable. You never 100% get what the narrative is as a whole, but there's little information in the radio messaging that she gets that kind of give you an idea that you can piece together in your head to ultimately pack a punch. But I was just completely enthralled and enamored in this world. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I really look forward to revisiting this one again soon. Coming in at number 9 is going to be the romantic comedy Rye Lane. Two absolutely incredible performances. This movie is vibrant and beautiful. It's charming. It's everything I could want out of a romantic comedy. Some of the stylistic choices felt a little like Wes Anderson, which I really appreciated. And these two lead actors need to be cast in a hell of a lot more because they were both so charming and wonderful. It was a fantastic film that I can't wait to watch again very soon. Coming in at number 8 is actually going to be the film Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. Had no idea that this was going to make my top 10 films of the year list so far, but it was fantastic. Great performances, a very simple story based on a classic work of literature, but it says so much that's so important for young girls, and I just thought that it was so incredible the way that the subject matter was handled. It was really charming. It had me laughing at moments. It had me tearing up at moments. It was just really well done, and I didn't expect to like it this much, but it was from the director of a coming-of-age film I loved called Edge of 17, so I'm not surprised that I enjoyed it as much as I did. But if you haven't seen this movie and you're on the fence about it, go watch it. It was really great. Coming in at number 7, the polar opposite of that, Evil Dead Rise, the newest installment in the Evil Dead franchise. I loved this movie. I thought the character development was great. I thought it was suspenseful, didn't pull back from the gore, added some lore to the Necronomicon and everything that surrounds the Evil Dead mythos in a way that I really appreciated. It's just a really fun movie, and it was so high anxiety that I really appreciated that a lot. I loved the whole change in setting in this apartment high-rise building, being trapped on this level after the elevator has fallen down. There's no real way to get out, and it's something new, and that's what these franchises need. If you're going to continue to do a franchise, do something different with it. Give us something fresh and exciting and inventive, and that's what Evil Dead Rise is, and I loved it a lot. Coming in at number 6 is going to be the film Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Everyone talks about this movie and how amazing it is. The animation is stunning, the performances are great, and it's all 100% true. I loved every second of this movie. The only reason it falls a little lower on the list is because it's kind of an incomplete film. It leaves you hanging, ready for the next chapter, but I do think while you're there, it really accomplishes a whole lot. The character dynamics in this are so incredible, especially between Miles and his parents. I think that they really do a great job focusing on those relationships, and no character is left unturned, even with the hundreds of Spider-Mans that just make little cameo appearances. The people who are focused on in this movie all get really great arcs. They're all very interesting, and I just loved this movie. It made me feel like a kid again, and movies can't do that very frequently anymore, and so whenever I can go watch something that makes me feel young and like a kid again, it's really exciting. Coming in at number 5 is going to be Ari Aster's Beau is Afraid, a movie that I absolutely love and respect. I still think it's a little bit too long, but I think it accomplishes a hell of a lot in its 3-hour runtime. It's anxiety-inducing. It's obviously a story about a relationship between a mother and son, the toxic relationship of that, which, as many of you who have watched my channel for a long time know, I have a toxic relationship with my father, and so this movie hits very, very hard in a multitude of ways. I thought Joaquin Phoenix's performance was amazing. Everyone else that was in the movie was fantastic. There are some really incredible moments in this of just absolutely astonishing filmmaking that really just left my jaw on the floor. And I feel like this could compete for a top spot later on in the year when I go to revisit a lot of these movies when I make my end of the year list. But as of right now, because the runtime's a little bit too padded, it's why it falls in the 5th spot for me. But I loved this movie a lot. Coming in at number 4 is going to be Brandon Cronenberg's Infinity Pool. This was my number 1 film for a while until I watched the next 3 films on my list. But I love Brandon Cronenberg's style. It's super surreal. It's very strange. It's campy at moments, and I thought the performances from both Alexander Skarsgård and Mia Goth in this movie were phenomenal. It's like an Eat the Rich type of movie, a commentary on how the wealthy feel that they can get away with anything that they want. It's done in an extreme and it's in an absurd way that I can really appreciate a lot. I love how hyper stylistic his movies are. They're just so uniquely him, and that's something that's missing in a lot of movies nowadays, is a director's vision being uniquely theirs. And I just absolutely adored this movie. Can't wait to watch it again. It was phenomenal. These next 3 films could change at any moment. I don't really know which one I would pick in first place every single day, but this is where they fall right now. So coming in at number 3 is going to be the film Sanctuary, starring Christopher Abbott and Margaret Qualley. This movie is absolutely astounding. What it manages to accomplish in a very short runtime with 2 characters essentially in one setting is incredibly impressive. I could watch this movie 100 times and never get bored with it. There's so many little things about the interaction between these characters, the framing devices that are used, the subtleties in their movements and their reactions towards one another, the way that things about each character are slowly unveiled as the runtime continues to move forward. It's just a completely immersive and enamoring film that every second you're watching it, you're gripped by these two phenomenal performances. And as a huge fan of Christopher Abbott, I thought he was phenomenal in this film, but Margaret Qualley steals the show. Holy shit, she cemented herself as one of my favorite actresses just in this movie. The things that she accomplishes in this hour-and-a-half runtime are amazing. I cannot wait to own this movie and watch it again, and I'm really looking forward to the Coen Brother movie that she is in later this year. Can't wait to see more from her. An incredible film. Watch Sanctuary if you haven't seen it. Coming in at number 2 is going to be Wes Anderson's Asteroid City. Yes, I know everyone's saying the most Wes Anderson of Wes Anderson films, whatever. I love Wes. I think that his style is incredible. I think that the performances that he gets from his actors are fantastic. I love how deadpan and goofy the movies are, but they somehow manage to pack an insane emotional punch amidst the very flat and goofy delivery that the actors give. And it's similar to one of my favorite directors, Yorgos Lanthimos, where I feel like doing that, it kind of gives the audience the ability to put themselves in the shoes of any of these characters, and I love that about it. And I was just completely moved by the material in this film, and I think that there's a lot to say about the relationship between the art and the artist in this movie. It's just really phenomenal, and I think I'm going to get more and more out of it on each revisit, but this immediately became one of my favorite in Wes's catalog. I could see this being top 3. It's just absolutely amazing. It's him staying true to form, getting the most out of his actors. I had a smile on my face through the entire runtime of this film. It's absolutely amazing. If you haven't seen it yet, go watch it. And then coming in at number 1, the movie that emotionally devastated me more than anything this year, and that is the film Past Lives. Holy cow, this movie just completely destroyed me in the best way possible. As most of you know, I am a sucker for slice of life dramas, and this movie was incredible. The cinematography was so nuanced and beautiful. The 2 lead performances in this just absolutely blew my mind. It's perfectly paced. There's so many great set pieces that just accompany to what the film is trying to say. And I think that that's something I always look for in a director, where every frame feels like it's so intentional. This idea of longing and caring for someone even though you haven't seen them in so long, and thinking about destiny, and are we supposed to be with one specific person, or can that change based on things in our lives? And I think that the film examines it in just the most brilliant way imaginable. It is one of the most beautiful movies I have ever seen. It is my favorite film of the year right now. And we'll see if that changes, because there's a lot left to come out this year that I'm very excited for. But as of right now, that is where it stands. Now that I've got my top 10 films out of the way, I do really quickly want to mention I did a video on the Julie Cohen documentary, Everybody. I don't normally put documentaries against narrative films because it's really hard to do, but this is a documentary about intersex people. It's absolutely beautiful. It's so well directed. It's so well done. It is one of my favorite things I've watched this year. So if you have not got a chance to watch that, please support it in the theaters or when it comes to streaming. It has very important subject matter in it. Everyone needs to see it. It's great. But what are your top 10 favorite films of the year? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to read through what your favorite films of the year are. These are mine for right now. I'm sure that it could change at any moment, but this is where they land right now. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, it helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.